Good morning. Every one of us at some point will face a moment that makes us want to quit. A job that breaks us, a relationship that drains us, a dream that feels too far away. And in those moments, the easiest thing in the world is to stop. To step back, to let go, but not today, because today I want to remind you, and myself, why we started in the first place. We live in a world obsessed with outcomes, with metrics, with trophies, with proof. We're taught to chase success like it's a finish line, and if we're not there yet, maybe we never will be. That belief is a lie. The truth is, what we do matters, but why we do it, that's what drives us. When you feel like quitting, the question isn't, can I keep going? It's, why was this worth starting? If your reason was real, if your vision is rooted in something deeper than pride, money, or validation, then it is always worth fighting for. Let me tell you something, grit isn't about brute force, it's not about grinding until you collapse. Grit is about clarity. Grit is about remembering the meaning behind the work. It's about waking up and choosing to face the resistance. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. When a seed is planted in the dirt, we don't expect it to sprout overnight. We water it, we protect it. We trust in the process we can't always see. That's how growth works. In nature, in life, and in ourselves. And yet, we treat our own dreams like they're supposed to bloom in a week. We hit one setback and call it failure. We look at other people's highlight reels and assume we're behind. But here's the truth, you are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you're meant to become. Quitting is not about rest. Quitting is about resignation. Rest is healthy. Rest is essential, but quitting, that's giving up on the future version of yourself who's still fighting, and I refuse to betray that version of me. You see, when we think about quitting, we usually think it's because things are too hard. But sometimes we want to quit because we feel alone. We believe we're the only ones struggling, the only ones doubting, the only ones stumbling through the dark. You are not alone. Every great leader, every innovator, every change maker you admire, they've all stood where you're standing, questioning, hurting, wondering if it's all worth it. And do you know what separated them from the rest? Not talent, not luck, not even resources. It was the decision to keep going. When everything said stop, they said no. When failure knocked, they got up. When doubt whispered, they answered with purpose. So let me say this clearly, I will not quit, not because I'm fearless, but because I've made peace with fear, not because I never fail, but because I've chosen to stand every time I fall. I will not quit on my dreams because they were never built to be temporary. They were never built on shallow ground. They were planted in meaning, in conviction, in a belief that I was made for something more than comfort. And I will not quit on the people counting on me because someone out there is watching. A child, a colleague, a friend. Someone who needs to know it's possible to keep going even when it hurts. I owe them the truth. I owe them an example of perseverance, not perfection. Perseverance. We often talk about legacy like it's something we leave behind, but that's only half the story. Legacy is what we build now. It's the way we choose to show up when things are hard. It's the words we say when we want to give up, but don't. It's the choice to rise again and again and again. You will be tempted to quit. That's normal. But remember this. The most beautiful chapters are written after the hardest moments. Your story is still unfolding, and if you quit now, you'll never know how strong the ending could have been. So when doubt comes, when fear knocks, when everything in you says this is too much, say this back, I will not quit, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Because your mission is bigger than the pain, your purpose is louder than the fear, and your presence, your example, might just be the light someone else needs to find their way. Keep showing up, keep believing, keep building, and never forget, you matter, you belong, you are not done yet. I will not quit. In a world that constantly measures success through outcomes, grades, promotions, trophies, and likes, it's easy to forget that the most powerful fuel for perseverance is not what we want, but why we want it. Outcomes are temporary, they come and go, but purpose anchors us. When the journey gets tough, when failure knocks, when motivation fades, it's your purpose that keeps you grounded. It's what reminds you why you started in the first place. Without a clear sense of purpose, it's tempting to quit at the first sign of resistance. But when you know what you're fighting for, when your actions are connected to a deeper meaning, you develop the resilience to push forward, even when progress is slow or invisible. Chasing goals for the sake of validation or approval will eventually leave you empty, but when your efforts are aligned with a mission bigger than yourself, something rooted in values, service, or growth, you'll find the strength to endure. Purpose doesn't just inspire you, it gives your pain a place. It transforms struggle into significance. And when outcomes fail to satisfy, purpose reminds you, this journey still matters. We often misunderstand grit. It's usually portrayed as raw toughness, the ability to power through pain, to hustle harder, to never stop moving. And while resilience and determination are part of grit, they're not the full story. Real grit isn't just about endurance, it's about clarity. Clarity of why you're doing what you're doing, clarity of the values you stand for, clarity of the mission that guides you, even when the way forward is difficult, unclear, or painful. Because strength without direction is chaos. You can be the strongest person in the world and still feel lost if you don't know what you're fighting for. That's why some people burn out while others burn bright. The difference isn't how hard they work. It's how clearly they understand why they're working in the first place. Grit becomes powerful when it's driven by a sense of meaning. When every struggle connects to something larger than the moment, whether it's serving others, fulfilling a calling, or building a legacy, you begin to see obstacles not as threats, but as necessary parts of growth. Clarity gives you the emotional resilience to face rejection, failure, and fatigue without losing your identity in the process. It helps you separate who you are from what you go through. The world tells us to be strong. But what we really need is to be anchored, so don't just muscle through life. Slow down, reflect, reconnect with your why. Because when you move from clarity instead of chaos, you don't need to force motivation. It becomes something you carry with you. True grit isn't how loud you roar. It's how deeply you believe in the quiet moments when no one's watching. We live in an age of instant result, instant messages, instant gratification, instant feedback. Somewhere along the way, we began expecting that real change, real success, and real growth should be just as fast. But anything worth building takes time. Think of a seed. When you plant it in the soil, it doesn't sprout the next day. For days, weeks, even months, there's no visible progress. That doesn't mean nothing is happening. In fact, the most important work is taking place beneath the surface. Roots forming, systems developing, the foundation being laid. The same is true of our lives. Growth often happens in the dark, in silence, without applause. It's in the hard conversations, the lonely nights, the failures, the slow rebuilding of self-worth, where your deepest transformation takes place. Just because it's not visible yet doesn't mean it's not real. We have to stop treating our journey like a race and start treating it like a season. Each season has its purpose: spring for planting, summer for nurturing, fall for harvesting, and yes, even winter, where everything seems dead, is a time of rest and unseen preparation. Too often, people quit not because they aren't growing, but because they don't see the growth. They compare their chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20 and assume they're falling behind. But remember, a strong oak tree doesn't appear overnight. It starts as something small, ordinary, and unseen. So, be patient with your process. Trust the timing of your life. Give yourself permission to grow slowly and deeply, rather than quickly and shallow. Because when you honor the process, you don't just build result. You build roots. And roots are what keep you standing when storms come. Growth isn't fast. It's faithful when you're in the middle of pain, failure, or uncertainty. One of the most dangerous thoughts you can have is, "I'm the only one going through this." That thought is a lie, but it's a convincing one. In moments of struggle, the world feels isolating. Social media amplifies this illusion, showing us carefully curated versions of other people's lives. Smiling faces, promotions, perfect relationships. It becomes easy to believe that everyone else is thriving while you're quietly drowning. But behind every highlight reel is a human being with fears, doubts, and their own private battles. The truth is, everyone struggles. Everyone has felt stuck. Everyone has faced a moment where quitting seemed easier than continuing. Even the people who look the most confident or successful have stood exactly where you are, uncertain, afraid, questioning their worth. Pain does not make you broken. Struggle does not make you weak. It makes you human, and here's the most powerful part. When we share our struggles, we give others permission to do the same. Vulnerability becomes a bridge, not a burden. It reminds people they're not alone either. That's how real connection begins. Not in perfection, but in shared imperfection. You don't have to carry everything on your own. You were never meant to. Whether it's a friend, a mentor, a community, or even just someone who will listen, reach out. Speak honestly. Let yourself be seen, because isolation fuels despair, but connection fuels hope. It's okay to need help. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. And it's more than okay to admit you're not okay. Because when you break that silence, when you allow someone in, something shifts, the burden gets lighter, the path gets clearer, and the will to keep going begins to return. You are not the only one struggling. You are not weak for feeling tired. You are not alone. So take a breath, ask for help, speak your truth, and trust that others are walking this road with you, even if you can't see them yet.